Hi, and welcome to the RAMS Agents Production Coaching Call. The goal of the call is to help you sell more homes by maximizing your repeated referral closings by implementing the referral agent mastery system into your practice. My name is Mike Cerrone, co-founder of RAMS Agents, and my co-host is Angela Newman, a master trainer of RAMS Agents. Hello, Angela. How are you today?
Good morning, everybody. I'm doing great.
Awesome, awesome. Well, good morning. Well, let's go ahead and jump right in. Who's got some good news they'd like to share? Anybody got any good news you'd like to share?
I'll go ahead and share some. Patty and I did an open house this weekend and had a really great turnout.
Well, that's fantastic. Angela, tell us a little bit about that. When you say a fantastic turnout, what are we talking about?
I believe we had four, well, let's just say we had four single individual people come through, and then we had seven groups of people come through. And a lot of couple people brought multiple family members because this property has a mother-in-law suite. And so, yeah, we had lots of people come through in total, lots of kids. Yeah, it was a good time.
So 11 total in potential buyers came through. And what over what period of time?
2 hours.
Sounds pretty good. You were pretty busy. There was a lot of activity most of the time you were there.
Pretty much the whole time. Yeah, up until about the last 20 minutes, we had people there constantly.
Did you find a buyer that was interested in the property?
We did not. So no buyer was like, yes, this is exactly perfect. But we did have a couple of buyers that said they didn't check it off their list, but it wasn't quite the right thing that they were looking for, but they wouldn't completely rule it out. So
Did you find any buyers that will become your clients?
possibly, yes. So we had a sign-in sheet and everyone except for one guy, which Patty already knew the guy, so it doesn't really matter because she's worked with him before. Everybody signed in, and so we also have a column that says, are you working with an agent or not, or yes or no, and then if yes, what is their name? And so we have all of that information.
Well, good. So that's when people do open houses, there's a couple reasons to do the open house, right? Number one is you're pacifying the seller. You're satisfying them that you're doing something for them to try to sell their property. That's number one. Number two, you're looking for a buyer who might walk in and buy the place. That'd be fantastic, right? Make a quick sell. And then number three, you're looking for people that you could pick up as clients that are walking through and they may not like that particular property for whatever reason, but you help them buy something else. So that's how we can be productive at an open house. And that's why I asked those series of questions. Good job, Angela. Now, Angela, you had a bit of a twist on this one. It wasn't a traditional or typical open house. Tell us how it was different.
Yeah, so this was an open house extravaganza, and so I invited 150 people to it, agents and clients, because this is in Tulsa, Oklahoma, where I don't live. So I wanted to make the biggest impact while I was there and kind of do a broker slash. But what happened was, one agent said, you know what, I'm going to pass this. I'm going to tell my client to go to this. And so I did still have good communication, even though, obviously 150 people didn't show up, but 150 invitations, plus putting it on social media just in general. And then the theme was we had Easter eggs that I filled with different prizes that people could win. So they got to go into the Easter egg basket and pull out an egg and open it, and there would be a piece of paper that would say what kind of prizes were in there. Um, and then we had some other plastic eggs that were just filled with candy for the kids. and we had snacks and stuff like that, and just made it a party. And as far as I mean, no agents came, which, that's okay too, but the buyers came and they all really enjoyed it too.
Angela, I have a question. Do you think that adding the element of the extravaganza, um, evidently it definitely improved the party atmosphere. So that was cool, the fun of it. Do you think anybody came because of that?
I do. I think a couple of people did come specifically for that. If it wasn't so, it was a very fast-paced day because a lot of those parties had six, seven, eight people even coming in all at once. And so if I could have dug in a little bit deeper with more people and asked, how did you hear about us? We did in the beginning. We were asking. We also put out lots of signage and but I do. I think that uh, if anything else, it gave me a good reason to create a Facebook event and invite a whole bunch of people. Um, so
Yeah, I'm thinking that's a win, if nothing else, because a lot of your contacts, people in both cities, saw that you were actively doing something fun and real estate related, reminded them that you are in the business of real estate and you're creative and you're not just saying, "Hey, I've got an open house. I've got something really fun happening."
and it gave me a great reason to reach out to some of my PCSOI because some of them saw it on Facebook and stuff, and they were like, "Oh, I didn't realize you were in town." Uh, okay, great. I thought that was just one of your team members that was hosting it. I was like, "No, I'm here, so stop on by, if you can." But anyway, yep.
Angela, that's fantastic. Way to do an event, way to turn an open house into an event where you can leverage, invited 150 people. You said that was PCSY. Did you also say you invited agents? So you're doing did you invite agents?
I did. Yes. So I invited my brokerage agents, put it into our group. Uh, we use social media to communicate with. And then I also invited all of the agents locally that I know.
That's cool. So you turned it into a broker open and to sell that property, but also we do a lot of different things here, agent attraction as well. You really leveraged that one open house into a lot of
Mhm.
purposes, right? We talked at the beginning about the three major purposes for doing an open house. Pacify the seller, find a buyer for that property, and if not, at least find a buyer that you can turn into a client. You have also leveraged this into reach out to your PCSOI and make sure they know that you're in business. So you might pick up a referral there or so a repeat business. Um, and fifth one would be that you were using it for agent attraction to see if you could possibly meet another agent that would like to be recruited into your brokerage. Did I pick up on that? Did you really leverage that into the five different ways that you could win
Mhm.
with this open house event?
You did. And, as far as the agent thing, I had a couple of agents that followed me on Instagram right after that. So I can't help but think that maybe that had something to do with it.
Very good, because you're showing your creativity and way to generate business that they may want to tap into. Um, very good. That's very good. So let me wrap this up and ask, would you do a open house extravaganza again?
I would. I think it was a lot of fun. I plan to document everything. That way it'll be easier a year from now if I want to host another one. But I can definitely think about how you can use the same concept. It doesn't have to be at Easter, but use the same concept and kind of use that for future open houses.
Good. Yeah, that was going to be my next question is there a way to twist this a little bit so you don't have to wait to once a year for the egg part of the concept?
Hmm.
Because all the other elements are still there. Maybe we could brainstorm for a second. What could you do next month or the following month? Like if an agent was listening to us, and they said, "Well, I really like that idea, but I don't want to wait a year. I want to do it next month." So what's next month? That's April. In fact, we got April Fools coming up tomorrow. So I don't know what else happens in April.
Mother's Day,
Mother's Day. Ah,
uh, coming up in May. April, we have the Easter, which is this coming weekend. So that's why I did the extravaganza. We have, so yes, I believe that there's a lot of different opportunities, just spring in general. Open house. Uh, we were gonna do a grand open house or something like that, but it could be li- any holiday really. You could twist it into a theme. And the prizes, they were small. So what I did for prizes were $1 scratch off ticket thingy. Well, they weren't tickets. Yeah, they were the sheets that you can scratch off. And then a couple of gift cards. So prizes didn't weren't like outrageous or anything. And you could do that at any. The key is to make it an event and then you can kind of just invite people that way because like you said, there's multiple different directions to go in. And
yeah, we could. And if anybody else has any idea, we're all ears here. But like, what could you do an event based on Mother's Day? So the same kind of deal, open house Mother's Day, houses for moms. I don't know. Is there a way to twist it around? Match a mom to a house. Come to the open house. I'm just throwing stuff out there at this point. But how could you twist it around so you could do an event for, say, Mother's Day and do this open house? Anybody have any ideas how to label that?
I was thinking that particular property has a mother-in-law suite, so somehow you would say, "Mom, this is your new home," that kind of thing. But
Is this your mom's new
um,
home?
I'm definitely trying to brainstorm it here because I've got an open house coming up the week after Easter, the Sunday after Easter, so a week and a half. I I need something for that.
I might do something like a Mother's Make It Bloom event or something because we do. Women are amazing. And what you could do is go to the dollar store and get, because at the dollar store you can get 3 packets of seeds for $1 or $1.50 now, whatever it is. But you could throw together like some cute little gift basket giveaways for less than $5 each. It would be too expensive and cumbersome to buy like live flowers, and that's too expensive. But you could do something small, invite mothers and their significant others or something like that. But mothers do make it bloom. And then I would probably do a bunch of like just creative twists off of that.
I like it. That's pretty cool. That's creative. So adding the bloom element, flowers, seeds. You could have flowers at the event or flowers as part of the themes or the photos or the images that you're using. This idea of blooming.
You
Uh,
could give away like a big flower arrangement, like maybe to one person. I wouldn't, do that for everybody that comes by, but even a giveaway like a gift card drawing to a local greenhouse or somewhere that sells flowers. Like here, we have a place called Al's Pine Garden, which is a little mom and pop shop greenhouse. Their flowers are very reasonably priced, but I would probably do like a gift card there because then I would also support a local business. And so you would get publicity that way too. as opposed to doing like Lowe's or Home Depot or something like that. I would do a local greenhouse if it were me.
There we go. Got some leverage
Yeah.
going. Yeah, on this idea.
I love that idea. And if you think about it, so we had 11 groups come through. I don't know how many were moms. There might have been 15, but yeah, at $5, just being able to give each person a little something and then having one bigger prize. I like that idea.
And then for like advertising leading up to it, you could do something really creative. Angela, you're great at this, but um, like I would take a spade from the dollar store and like maybe do a Facebook post with, something creative with the word spade or maybe not hoe. That could have too many negative connotations, but maybe like a little rake or gardening gloves. We treat our client with, the white glove service or you could have so many creative ideas and then just keep doing repetitive Facebook post, not repetitive, but new Facebook content leading up to that event. But you're great with the play on words. And then even going with your idea that we were brainstorming that day, you could even, keep peppering in there, we're offering an epic Mother's Day, or, we want you to have an epic Mother's Day, or mothers are epic, or, something like that. That's where your creativity comes in, Angela. You're great with those play on words.
Right. Yeah, so I just even forgot about that, how we can use the word epic because that's our brokerage name. But an epic open house for Mother's Day. It can be super simple.
There you go. Yeah, love that.
And then I was also thinking a spring spectacular open house. I like holidays themes, but if you don't have a holiday theme, you can use a season theme. Fall spectacular. I don't know if I'd use spectacular for fall, but fall, winter, Wonderland open house, or so there's always a seasonal twist
All
too.
in love with your new home.
Yes, we did that. We did a buyer class last fall and we did use that theme. Fall into home ownership, I think is what we called it.
Yeah, love that.
I've just written a few things down from what we've been talking about. Make it an epic spring. Bloom in your new home at the Spring Spectacular Open House. There's a lot of in there. A lot of different angles we could go with.
Yeah, this is good stuff. Yeah, I like the idea of doing the seasons instead of fall. You could also say autumn if you didn't want to use fall, though you guys came up with a lot of great ideas for fall. Uh, Here, so the big picture, if you really like open houses and you're getting traction in your area, you have really good open house attendance, et cetera, it's resulting in business. Remember how all has to result in business. This idea of leveraging in the 5 different ways. If you got into that, what you could do is um, you could make your business plan that you're going to do one open house a month, a big event. And that's your business plan. You just do one a month all throughout the year. And that's how you're attracting new clients. That's how you're satisfying current clients. That's how you're reaching out to your PCSOI. You become known as the open house person, right? Um, as long as it's generating business, that's a way to go. And I've heard of people that have successfully based their businesses on open houses. They're usually not doing a traditional open house, that are usually doing it in some big way, like the mega open house concept that we've heard in the past. Or I've heard where people set up their office at a house, at a vacant house or vacant property or a builder's vacant building, and they set their office up there, and they're there all the time. So they're doing open houses every day, 24/7. Not quite 24/7, but every day for several hours. So there's a lot of ways to incorporate in an open house into your marketing strategy if that's the way you want to go. Yeah. So Angela, I like the idea of the event. I appreciate you bringing that to us, and we had a lot of fun spinning that. Does anybody else have any questions from Angela before we move on? All right, well, that was good. That was great. Thank you, Angela. Anybody else have any good news you'd like to share? Or I'll also open up, by the way, we'll open this up to any challenges that you're experiencing you'd like the mastermind to focus on. So we'll do a dual purpose here. Any good news you'd like to share or challenges that you would like us to help you work through?
We could kind of talk about a challenge that I've been dealing with here for a little while, and for a moment anyway, we could talk about it. So I have a house that's been listed for several months, and we got an offer. I'm going to say it's 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it's just over 2 weeks ago. And during the due diligence period, the buyers, this was after, I should say, we had a hard time coming to an agreement on that contract. We got it under contract after it had died. The deal had died. We'd all walked away. We got it put back together and moved forward. Ended up with a contract, had it under contract, then it fell out of contract due to some concerns the buyers had from their home inspection, and they just felt like they were too nervous to move forward. But the seller is going to be repairing and working on the things that they found in the crawl space, because the seller didn't know anything about those, obviously, until the home inspection. So anyway, the contract has been canceled, so we're out of contract right now. I've put it back on the market on Sunday evening so that we have showings already lined up again for it while the repairs are being done. But we're still negotiating with the previous people. So I just thought I'd kind of lay that out. We're still talking to the previous people. I've been in lengthy conversations with the agent and with my client. Just letting them know we're doing all of the things that they found. And we're kind of presenting it as, hey, we didn't, that my clients, the sellers didn't know this problem was going on in the basement or in the crawl space. And because you found it in your home inspection, they're getting it corrected and they're fixing it whether you buy it or the next guy buys it. That's kind of where we are right now. And I don't know. I think when I put it back on the market, the other agent recognized that pretty quickly and realized we were moving on one way or the other. Just kind of throwing that out for you. I don't know if there's any thoughts. I can't point to a specific issue that I'm struggling with on it. I just thought I'd throw it out there and see if you have any thoughts or advice.
Based on what I've heard, Blake, I think you're handling it properly. You found a defect in the property. Your seller is addressing it and or disclosing it. That would be the answer. And you're continuing to negotiate with the original buyer who the contract has fallen out with. And you've opened up the possibility now by putting it back on the market, and another buyer may show up and make it interesting. I think everything you've done sounds correct to me. We'll see if anybody else has any other thoughts. And you mentioned, I was going to ask you if there was anything specific that you wanted us to focus in on. And if you do, let us know. But otherwise, if you're just looking for, hey, am I doing this correctly? Am I going the right direction? I'd say the answer is yes.
Yeah, unless you
go ahead.
Yeah, unless you may have some advice or you've been on that particular situation before. Absolutely. This is what's going on. Maybe I don't know what I don't know. And so I thought I'd throw it out there for you guys.
Yeah, Blake, I think you're doing the right thing. When we run into challenges, and we always run into challenges, again, I keep teasing Kim about the business all the time because everybody says this business is so easy from the outside and we get paid too much and blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, you stand in my shoes. We run into all kinds of problems and challenges we have to solve for people, right? And they're all over the place. That's why I'm not going to say it's impossible, but I say it'd be very difficult for AI to do what we do, or them to standardize this in some way. It's not standardizable, if that's a word, because there's so many different things that we have to do. Every project's different. Yes, occasionally we get one that's a slam dunk, but that's the rare exception. So Blake, you're doing all the right things. You're dealing with all the people and all the personalities on top of the actual issues, right? You're dealing with all of that and you're moving it forward. Angela, do you have something for Blake?
I had a thought that so you put the house back on the market, if you don't get any other offers in a reasonable time, um, talking to the seller and explaining, okay, well, we know that that buyer had enough interest to make the offer before and everything. Maybe offering that buyer something special and just say, the seller, would like to just offer you this concession or whatever it is and see if you can get them to come back.
That's a great idea, Angela. I see what you're saying is that gives us a reason. Hey, you guys were involved in this early on. You found the issue. You paid to find the issue, and you shared that with us. So we thank you for that. And the seller would like to offer this exclusive whatever. I get that. Yeah, an exclusive ask for them or offer for them. That's good. Thank you.
It's a great idea, Angela. Um, I'm going to give you I'm going to give you a twist on her idea and then another quick thought. So you could, number one, you could just go back to the buyer agent and say, hey, it looks like this, we've been talking, it looks like this thing fell apart. Is there any way we could bring this back together? What would it take to bring this back together? In other words, find out exactly what the buyer wants and then see if you can provide that exact thing to the buyer rather than trying to guess what the item would be. Just ask them, hey, what do you think would be the magic thing that we could bring this back together? Well, if you drop the price by 10 grand, okay, fine. Now we got something to talk about. Or if you gave us $3,000 more towards closing out, okay, now we got something to talk about. Or you put on new shingles on the roof or whatever they say. Now you can decide if that's a package that your seller is willing to accept. So going back to the buyer agent and saying basically what Angela said is, hey, look, we like what we're doing here. Is there anything that what would it take for us to bring this back together? What do you think your buyer would like that we could put this back together? And just leave it in an open-ended question.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think I forgot the other item. That's something specific. The other item would be, I'd be going along the lines of what Angela said, but create a specific item or specific, oh, I know what it was. So create a specific item like, hey, if you make a condition, right? Say, hey, we're working. First of all, I would start off, if you're going to go down that path, I'd say, hey, is your buyer still interested in this property? I'd start there before I made some kind of offer. Because if they've lost interest, let's stop talking. Right? I want to make sure I got a qualified buyer. So, hey, is your buyer still interested in this property? Yes. Okay, now I'm going to make an offer. And I would say something like what Angela was saying, hey, because we really would like to work with you and get this resolved, I've been talking to the seller, and the seller is willing to do X, whatever that is. The seller is willing to give you an extra $10,000 towards this transaction in either the form of a seller concession towards your closing costs, if that would help, or we'll drop the price by 10,000 if we can close by X date. You need to make an urgency statement. If we can close by X date. So we're sitting here at the end of March. If we could close by April 30th, the seller would like to offer the buyer a $10,000 concession. Or you could say, if we could put a contract together by next Friday, or whatever. So you have to create some kind, you have to tie in the idea of time, urgency to the situation. That way your seller's kind of getting something for the exchange. And that's how also you would sell it to the seller. Hey, let's get this thing done. Let's get this thing done. Let's offer them this carrot, but they've got to do something that we want, which is time. We want to get this thing done by X time. Anybody
Very
else
good.
have? Oh,
Thank
go ahead,
you.
Blake.
No, just thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I hope that helps. So anybody else have anything for Blake on his situation?
I just think those are both great ideas, Angela and Mike, because it's a more aggressive approach, kind of than waiting to see what happens. You're more so putting some urgency on these buyers. And I think with it being on the market, they're also having the fear of missing out too. So I think these are great ideas, especially with the little twist Mike added at the end of um, the timeline of the closing.
Thank you, Tristan. Yeah, the time element is good. Here's the other thing, the exclusivity, right? That's why Angela's statement was so powerful. I'm just offering this to you, buyer. Buyer, you're telling the buyer agent, but I'm just offering this to you, buyer. But it's only for a limited time. Let me know if this works. And the other thing you can do with time is, but we need to know by, we need to have your answer by, we need to know by tomorrow at midnight or tomorrow at the end of the day. We need to know by, it would be a short time period. We need to know within the next 48 hours. Okay. And then the final twist on all that is if they don't accept, for instance, let's say you went and did this whole exercise and you did get your seller to agree to some kind of concession for this exclusive buy. And then the buyer doesn't accept it. Well, what the next step is then to take that concession and formalize it and offer it to the whole market. Now you put it in the MLS, hey, if you buy this property by this date, the seller will give you X dollars in concession. I do that. In fact, I'm doing that on a property right now. Okay, and we've been getting some traction. So you can do that, you can offer it out there, this concession, you put it in your comments or your remarks section in the MLS. And you say, hey, this is the offer. This is the thing that we're going to give you, buyer, if you do something by this date. And like a seller concession amount.
That's interesting. I haven't thought of seller concession tied to a timeline publicly published. You know, bring the offer by Thursday, and they're gonna put new carpet in, whatever it is.
Yes, that's exactly right. You know who does that all the time? You know who's still selling a lot of homes in all markets, even with the market falling in certain areas?
Builders.
Builders. That's right,
Yeah,
Mark.
that's true.
Builders do this all the time. The average builder concession right now across the nation, the average builder concession amount across the country right now. Anybody know that number? How much are builders giving in these type of concessions, promoting these concessions, getting it out there and giving to buyers? The average number, what is it in the US?
Didn't I see something where it was like 50 grand or something like that?
$56,000. You're right,
Yeah.
Blake. $56,000. $56,000. That's a huge amount. Why are they doing that? Because they know it works. Okay, they know it works. They also can maintain their price. So they can maintain the price up and then they give concessions back. If you remember when the car market got real slow, that's what they did. They kept the price up and they started adding cash back at closing, reduced interest rates, right? They're doing the buy down of the interest rates. Builders are doing that right now as well, right? Well, we can't completely go that direction, but we can play with it a bit. Right? It's hard for us to buy down a seller to buy down an interest rate 2 points because that's a ton of money. But that's what these builders are doing. But we can buy it down a little bit. We can do a 2-1 buy down as an example. We can do a 1-1 buy down. We can buy that interest rate down temporarily, or even do some discount points to buy it down maybe a quarter of a point, half a point, if that's going to make a difference. The point is we can make this concession. And Blake, you really nailed it, because in the old days, that is the way we would phrase it. We'd say, hey, we'll put in brand new paint and carpet, right? We'll give you money for brand new paint or carpet, or we'll put it in, because in the old days, the lenders were okay with us doing that. Then they got finicky about it and they didn't like that anymore. They want us to turn it into a dollar amount. So that's why we have seller concessions. For us old timers, we saw all that transition. For why is it the way it is today? Because people don't really want the cash. They wanted the thing. They wanted the carpet. They wanted the paint. They wanted the lower interest rate, the lower payment, right? The thing. So, but for us, it's the seller concession. So when I promote it as a seller concession, I also put in a little statement about what you could use it for. So use this to buy down your interest rate. Use this to pay for your closing costs. Use this to do a 2-1 buy down. Use this to whatever it is. You start listing out what, and the last one is always, or just use it to drop the price. Okay, I'll give you one reason to do it this way, rather than just dropping the price. By the way, dropping the price works, but rather than dropping the price, if you feel you're at a good price point already, and you're attracting enough people, the reason to do it this way is if you find a buyer and you go to get financing and the buyer needs this money for closing costs, the bank is going to do an appraisal. And when the bank does their appraisal, if you had dropped the price and then you had to raise the price back up to eat these or for these concessions, that appraiser is going to go back to the bottom number. And now your appraisal crashes the deal. I saw that over and over and over again. So I learned, keep the price up and add the concessions as an offer. Does that make sense? That's why I'm recommending you do it this way. All these things we learned by getting smashed in the face. Deals crashing and people crying. So that's why I would structure it that way. And now you can explain it to the seller. This is why we're doing it this way, is we're attracting more people for you. Because a lot of sellers, I just tried to explain to a seller recently, and she's like, I don't want to pay that buyer. I don't want to pay that buyer's costs. I don't want to pay. And I'm trying to explain, look, okay, then we can just drop the price. We have to attract more people somehow. This is a way to do it without dropping the price. It's the same net to you. And once you can get the seller to understand that concept, they're like, oh, okay, fine, I get it now. But we want to make it real attractive for the buyer. So you have these concessions and what they can use it for. For instance, I'll give you the example of the 2-1 buy down I keep talking about. I don't know, they're starting to come back a little bit, but the 2-1 buy down is where you can temporarily buy down the interest rate 2 points in the first year, 1 point in the second year, and then the third year, it just goes to whatever the normal rate would be. Well, for a buyer, that could be really cool. Let's say their payment is $2,000 a month. Well, the first year, it's going to be $1,600 a month. And the second year, it'll be $1,800 a month. And the third year, it'd be $2,000 a month. So they get a nice break where the interest rate is reduced, or their payment, it's their payment. Their payment is reduced in the first year, and the second year, and the third year. And the way that works is the lender takes 3% and puts it into an escrow account. So right at the closing, 3% of the loan amount is put into an escrow account, and then it's divvied out. They supplement the payment each month out of that escrow account. A little bit for a big chunk for the first year, a little bit chunk for the second year, and then the end. Well, buyers love that stuff. And in the old days, FHA would even qualify the buyer at that reduced amount. They stopped doing that, but it was really neat because then you could even leverage a buyer into a property they couldn't get into normally. And the theory was that they were young and their income was going to grow over time and it was going to work out for them. Anyway, does that make sense? We threw a lot out there.
Yes, thank you. I made several good notes on that. Thank you.
Let's see, 2 points to clarify. Oh, I'm sorry. I just saw that Mark had put up a comment. I don't see the whole thing. Let me open it up over here.
I can just say it. Just
okay.
the first point, if the seller, I just want to make sure that the buyer is aware that the seller was unaware of this and they're doing everything they can to rectify it. And I would first ask, is there anything we can do to satisfy the buyer before I went into these concessions? The second thing is sometimes they come after your commission and you got to be very careful of that. The seller's like, well, I don't want to pay any more. You know, you're getting a good commission. Can you kick in? And we've had issues in California where the agent got sued for inducing the sale. by contributing their commission. So never offer any of your commission for that reason alone. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure you're aware of those two things. That's it.
That's a great one, Mark. I love it. I love it. They'll sue you for anything, won't they?
That's amazing. Yeah.
So they'll
Yeah.
sue
Thanks
you
for that
because you
heads
tried
up
to
on
help.
that one, Mark.
Yeah, it was a rude awakening, but it happened in our office to an agent.
Wow.
100% believe it too. It's sad but true. When I got into the business, I'll just give a quick answer that might be helpful. When I got into the business, my dad was an attorney, and so he advised me something that was really, really good advice. He said, the number one person who will sue you in this business, in real estate, the number one person who will sue you as the agent is your own client. Yeah. The number one person who will sue you is your own client. So you got to be real careful. And that's why if you get with somebody and you start to bring a client on and they're really combative, you might want to think about that. Anyway, so that's really good advice, though, Mark. Thank you for bringing that up. And before you even got to the punchline, my answer was pretty simple. I don't throw my commission in to a deal ever, because that's the money that I earn for bringing this thing together. And whatever the net is to the parties, that's the net to the parties. So that's just my policy.
I agree, and I have always taken that stance, and many agents as well. But some agents cave, and that's a big mistake, especially legally.
Yeah, everybody's got to decide what they want to do with their own business. I've heard of people, they'll buy washer and dryers and refrigerators and whatever else, and that's fine. And you can run your business any way you want, but well, you've heard our thoughts on it. Well, Blake, there you go. So you opened up quite a bit that we didn't think we were going to go down. So good job. All right, we just have a few more minutes here before we're going to wrap this section up. Does anybody have any other burning issues you want the mastermind to talk about while we're together? Okay. Well, we put it out there. Thank you, everybody, for being here for the production call. It was a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody, for participating and sharing your ideas. Let's do this. Let's go ahead now and close up the production call and go into the huddle. Number one thing you did yesterday to move your business forward. Number one thing you're going to do today to move your business forward. Who would like to start?
I'll start as normal. Number one thing yesterday was door knocking, and Kim's advice yesterday was really helpful just to get me in the right mindset of focusing on the conversations as well as on just speaking from the heart rather than just going through my structured script. And as a result, I was able to have conversations for a much longer time. And I think it being like one of the first warm days we've had in a while also contributed to people being more open to talking and stuff. So that was good. I did 130 something knocks, 50 something conversations, I think 15 or so connections. And I made an appointment for today for a listing appointment. Number one thing for today is preparing for that listing appointment, putting together my CMA and seeing how that goes. And then hopefully hitting some doors in the evening.
Wow. Wow, Tristan, did I hear that you knocked on a door yesterday? Somebody answered. You had a conversation, and now you have a listing appointment today.
Yeah, Mike, it's true.
That's awesome, Tristan. That's fantastic news. Congratulations. And tell us a little bit about how that conversation went.
I let him know that I recently sold a home in town, and he asked about the price, and I let him know. And he's like, well, what would something like this go for? And I was like, well, let me set up an appointment and I can have a look and be able to give you a better answer. And he's like, can you come in now? I was like, okay. So yeah, he gave me a tour of the place, and then again, just listening to Kim's advice, I was just speaking to him and kind of got off the house and was just more so focused on connecting with him and getting a better understanding of why he wants to move and his history as well, and just getting to know him better and stuff. So I was there for maybe an hour and a bit. And then yeah, I set the appointment for today to come back and hopefully get the paperwork started and get the ball rolling. But we'll see how that goes.
That is incredible. What a great story, Tristan. What a great story. And now I would like to share with you a potential mind bender, mind blower. Ready? Are you ready? There are people, there are people in your town right now standing behind a door that want to sell their house and they're waiting for you to knock on the door.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. Mike, you're right.
You just proved it yesterday. What a great story, Tristan. What a great story. Well, good luck on that. Thank you for sharing the good news. Can't wait to hear how the appointment goes today. I hope you get everything lines up the way it needs to for you.
Thanks, Mike.
Good job, Tristan. All right, who's next?
I had a full day yesterday, so I just watched a 1 hour webinar on building your own YouTube page. And today I'm going to be working on Lofty and getting those, hopefully getting the calls. I got my headset on the way to make the calls. I should be making the calls at the latest this evening.
Awesome news, Mark. Good luck with that. Getting lined up on some prospecting, some phone prospecting. And same idea as Tristan, right? There's someone on the other end of that phone that's just waiting for you to call. They're just thinking, man, I need to sell this house. Who do I talk to? And you show up, right? There you go. Just happened to Tristan. Mark, let's get it to happen to you on the phone, right? All right, who's next?
I was just thinking how Tristan was on our call yesterday as well, when there was a lot of discussion about keeping asking questions of the homeowner, of the potential seller in this case. And it sounds like Tristan, if nothing else, that might have been a reinforcement for him to remember as he was going through the day that, oh yeah, all I'm going to do is ask questions. Anyway, number one thing yesterday for me is was actually continuing in this particular negotiation. We had a lot going on yesterday with that particular house, and today I am going to be. I've got a house that is going live by Wednesday, so today I've got to get it ready to. I've got a lot of things to finish up to get it listed. So that's my stuff today.
Good luck, Blake. Good luck on the new listing. That's fantastic news. Where'd that listing come from?
This listing is from my sphere of influence. And I think we talked about this the other day, that these are the folks that when I came over, the family was out working on the deck, and the mother of the home and the wife, she took me out on the deck and said, "All right, the inspector's here." So they wanted to know that I was pleased with the way the house was coming along.
Very smart on their part, isn't it? When you actually think about it, because you are the person that's connected to the market, which is the conduit that they can get what they want.
True.
What do all sellers want?
Angela said this yesterday, to sell the house, get it sold.
It's so simple, but we forget about it all the time because we know all the intricacies and all the details and all the little nuances that have to happen, and we get stuck in the weeds and those details, and we forget to just get right back to the simple point with our clients. We're going to get this home sold for you. And so in this case, I'm sure you told her, you're doing the right thing. Deck looks good. I think we're going to get this place sold. They want to hear you say that, right? They want to hear the confidence in your voice. So good job, Blake. Good luck on that prep as you bring that to the market. All right, cool. Who's next?
Yesterday, I made 2 calls, talked to 2 people. One person said that they aren't thinking about selling anytime soon. They're gonna just stay. And then the other person was a little, I don't know, I guess rough a little bit, I got information. He's gonna sell in a month. He's working on the house. And so that'll be somebody I follow up back up with in the future. Today, I have a call set up at 9:30 with Patty. I received a referral, but it's a buyer here in Tulsa. I'm going to hand it over to her. And since she's on my team, I win as well. But we have that call set up I've been speaking with this buyer and getting it all kind of preliminarily set up, turning it over to her today.
That's
And
fantastic
driving back
news.
to Houston.
Go ahead, Angela.
And I'll be driving back to Houston all day.
Good job. So you're working two markets, which is interesting in and of itself. People ask about that all the time, and you're actually pulling it off. So that's pretty cool. Well, good job, and good job making your dials. You made your two dials and talked to two people. That's amazing. One said, no, they're not going to do anything. And the other said, yeah, I am. That's pretty good, right? When you think about it, even if they were a little gruff. And you got to keep in mind, it might be their personality that they're gruff. It might be that they were holding a paint can. Just think about how heavy a paint can is. And they just dropped it on their foot right before you called. So you don't know what happened in their life, why they might be a little gruff. But the fact that they kept talking to you and you stayed in the pocket, you kept asking questions. Congratulations to you, and you've got yourself a lead. And I would 100% call them back. Remember the good old rule of thumb: whatever time frame they tell you, cut it in half. That's when you want to call them. So if they said 30 days, you call them back in at least 2 weeks, maybe even faster. 30 days is pretty quick. You don't want somebody else to pop up and you lose the deal. So good job, Angela. That's fantastic news. Way to make your dials. All right, who's next?
Well, I guess that would be me. I just wanted to comment on the power of this group, and everybody is making stuff happen. Everybody has something in the works. Everybody is busy moving their boat forward, their ship forward. We're kind of helping each other row our boats with the encouragement and the masterminding. But I just wanted to take a minute to celebrate that because every single person in this group is taking action. And I think that's really encouraging. I'm so impressed with everybody. So good job making the calls. Good job, negotiating and getting your listing ready to go to the market. Good job putting together your systems, so that you can continue to build this forward. And Tristan, wow, just getting out there every day and knocking those doors is so impressive. But everybody here is doing stuff, and I just wanted to take a moment to comment on that because it's really impressive and encouraging, the power of the mastermind. Yesterday, we went over to a new property to take pictures, kind of start getting it ready. Today, there's going to be some problem solving that goes along with marketing that property. It's going to take a little bit of creativity, and there's some problem solving, and then how do you handle the client and make appropriate recommendations? I told Mike the other day, as I mentioned to you, I read that book, Unreasonable Hospitality. Now we have a new client. Now we provide unreasonable hospitality. Now we provide that level of service, so that they feel really good about paying us and what we're doing. And with that is going to come some problem solving today, as well as calling an HOA to get a bunch of information on that particular property, a bunch of data, making calls, sending out letters. So I just wanted to comment on how impressed I am with what everybody's doing in this group. Good job.
Awesome. I will second that. Good job, everybody. That's awesome. Awesome stuff. Everybody is moving forward. Thank you, Kim, and good luck today. And we've got Yevon is on the line. I'm not sure if you can talk though. Yevon, do you have your items that you would like to share? Number one thing you did yesterday, number one thing today?
Yes, hi guys. Yeah, sorry, I'm always like on mute mode. Yeah, I'm in the gym right now. It's kind of like busy time for me, spring always busy. So thank you, Kim, for good words. Yeah, I appreciate it so much. Like, yeah, to hear. And yeah, on my end, like, yeah, yesterday I submit 2 offers. So I will follow up with clients today. And for today, I already have scheduled like one inspection and closing for new construction. And yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Wow, you have a nice job. Did I hear two? You wrote 2 offers yesterday?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just a regular day for you, isn't it?
I mean, close to weekends. Yeah, I always try to kind of show most stuff I can like on weekdays and close to weekends submitting offers because usually like people do open houses and they collect the offers and they review them on Sunday and give you some, feedback. So that's, yeah, how our market looks like right now.
That is fantastic. And you scheduled a closing and an inspection. That
Yeah.
is great news, Yevon. Good job.
And next time, like if you guys would like me to, I would like to share my, I just built visual kind of presentation, listing presentation. And maybe you can see that and correct if it needs to be, done something better. It works for me. I like a lot, but I just would like to, hear your opinion. Is it
Yeah, but
possible
we'd
I
be
can
happy
do
to.
it next time? Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
we'd be happy to. If you're up to it and you would like to share your listing presentation with us on the screen here, we can all watch and ask questions, and especially if that'd be helpful for you. Does everybody agree that's a good idea? All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yevon, sounds like you got yourself a date. You got yourself a we got ourselves a plan for next Tuesday.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Does that sound fair? Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. All right, thank you, Yevon. Good job. All right, I think we made it through everybody today. Yeah. Anybody? Did I miss anybody? Okay, I'm looking there. Okay, cool. All right, so yesterday made 10 dials. So always try to get the dials in. Always trying to meet some new people. Had a couple conversations. Let's see, one, and they always go right. One, the gal said hello, and I said hello, and she hung up. So what are you gonna do? Then the next one is not gonna sell. She's got a family member living in the property. I'm like, great, no problem. And the final one is going to move in. This person said, yeah, I'm just going to move into the place. I said, great. And then they wanted to tell me more. So the more was, in order to move in and take over, I want to buy this place. I have to buy out a family member. And so I need to sell my house. And I said, great. Do you have anybody helping you with the sell of that house? And he said, yeah, just listed it. Ah, okay. But remember, my point is you want to do the follow-up. You always want to do the follow-up if you hit the roadblock at the beginning. Say, hey, do you have any other houses to sell? Is there any other way I can help you? Because there might be another opportunity there. Anyway, so we did that. And then today we'll make some more dials. Always going to do more dials. And that's on top of all the stuff we do, all the regular stuff. And that's why I recommend you do it early in the morning, knock it out. And then the rest of the day is handling the regular business of being a real estate agent. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. It was a productive call. Appreciate y'all. Take care. Bye for now.